What's going on, guys? Phantasm Mask here, and I don't normally do vlog series, but I figured since I can't get PWNcast off the ground due to scheduling differences this week, I would go on ahead and touch on some news articles that I was going to cover anyway. First off, new PlayStation Vita. Thinner, it's got an LCD screen, which I'll get into that in a second, and it's got 1 gigabyte of built-in internal memory. So, what's the problem with this, you might ask? There are a few things that I was hoping the Vita would have that haven't been mentioned yet, and that's an HDMI out. I would love to have an HDMI out on the PlayStation Vita. It's still not there. Also, the LCD screen is a downgrade from the OLED that you can find on current Vitas. The Vita screen right now is one of the best screens I've ever seen on a handheld. It is also ridiculously bright. I have to turn down the brightness on my Vita to damn near as low as you can go, because if I turn it anywhere up, it's so bright. I mean, you could use it as a mag light in the dark. That is how bright this handheld is. And it's actually pretty good when it comes to the battery and brightness, too. Turning the brightness down definitely conserves on battery, but if you turn it all the way up, it doesn't necessarily eat through it too fast either, like some other devices that you might find, like an iPod, or because you turn the brightness up on an iPod, you're just going to eat right through that battery. And it's also got this PlayStation Vita TV attachment that's coming out in Japan, which allows you to watch TV with your PlayStation Vita. And you can also use services such as Hulu, some other Japanese TV streaming services. It also is mentioned that you're able to use your PlayStation Vita to play games on your television. This is something that I want so bad, because I would love to be able to take, let me think of an example, like Killzone Mercenary, for example, is coming out in a few days. It's coming out tomorrow, actually, at the time that I'm recording this. I would love to have that game and be able to play it on the television, because that game looks fucking gorgeous. I played the beta for it, and that right there is one of the games that makes the Vita. Killzone has been kind of an iffy franchise for me, but I really enjoyed playing that beta, and I'm probably going to pick up the final product tomorrow, providing I have the funds for it. But anyway, moving on, I think that's an awesome service that's going to happen with the Vita. I think it's priced around $95, or the equivalent of $95 US in yen. I don't exactly remember the yen count, so forgive me on that. Next, this has been bothering me for a few days, because I think it's a whole bunch of people that are blowing this completely out of proportion, and that's what Kojima released with Metal Gear Solid 5, and the character known as Quiet, who we've seen in the trailers as a female sniper character. He released the 3D character model snapshots from her, which, by the way, those snapshots, those look like they may have been taken from a current-gen console. Definitely not next-gen, and they're definitely a work in progress, because there's no way that can be close to the final product. But that's not the point, really. A lot of people are having a lot of negative reaction to it due to the fact that she's a very well-endowed woman. She has these stockings or leggings, whatever you want to call them, that have holes in them that are ripped, and she's wearing a bikini top and nothing else. And I think it's because people don't quite understand the context of this character, in the fact that when you watch the trailer, you clearly see this woman being electrocuted and tortured by Revolver Ocelot, and people want to cry a foul saying, oh, feminism, oh, this is not how you make a female soldier. Well, who said she was a female soldier? She's just a prisoner, and she managed to escape with the clothes on her back, and now people are complaining about it because she's trying to escape the Lolly-Lulelo. So, and Kojima put out a tweet, which I'm going to put over my shoulder here, which basically comes out and says, yeah, once you guys realize the reason why she doesn't have a top on, then you're going to really hit yourself in the head, because there's a reason why she has so much skin showing. Which leads me to believe that her ability, because Metal Gear Solid always has characters with supernatural abilities or science fiction-like abilities, that she's going to have like Octocamo from MGS4. She's going to be able to blend in with walls, blend in with the ground. That's what I think is going down with that. So really, all of these people who are making a big fuss about it, remember, Metal Gear Solid 2 came out in 2001. That's got Raiden running around buck naked, the only thing covering his junk being his two hands. So if you really have a problem with Quiet running around with a bikini top and some ripped leggings, maybe you should get mad at Metal Gear Solid 2 with Raiden running around naked and sneezing. So I'd throw that one out there. Also, a thing that from Gamescom, so this is going a little bit further back, there was a guy who was running around talking about how the Battlefield 4 on the PS4 was going to not run at 1080p 60 frames per second. And I know this is a bit of old news, and it's already been confirmed by DICE that it's going to run at 720p upscaled to 1080p at 60 frames per second. But that's not really the point that I'm trying to make. The point is that one guy cries a foul with very, very shaky evidence, and the entire gaming industry just like goes, oh my god, what are we going to do? The new consoles aren't going to be able to run a game that most people on their computers can't even run on Ultra. It's not going to be able to run at 1080p 60 frames per second. What are we going to do? Of course it's not going to run at 1080p 60 frames per second. Nor is it going to run on high settings. Not very many people, as it is, can run Battlefield 3 at 60 frames, 1080p on Ultra. I mean, not very many people can do it. It's very expensive to do. And then you want to say that this $500 console that's coming out, or $400 console for that matter, you want to flip out when it can't do that. Consoles are not designed to necessarily be the top-of-the-line piece of graphics processing. Consoles now are shifting towards a compromise between having to go out and spend $1,200, $1,300 on a PC so that way you can run these games at max settings, or you could pay $500 and still be able to play the game with decent-looking graphics. That's pretty much what a console's purpose at this point is. Personally, I'm going to go with console over PC any day, but that's my personal preference. I like the ability to sit down here with a bunch of my friends on a couch and play a video game on my television screen. I will admit it is a very nostalgic experience for me. It's me wearing the biggest nostalgia goggles you've ever seen. I love that experience. PC just doesn't really do that for me. For me, PC is really lacking when it comes to a strong community. I mean, you look at Xbox Live and you try to compare that to, say, Steam. It's not the same. It really isn't. I've never heard of, Steam trying to do drop-in, drop-out, co-op, and things like that through their online service, much like the emphasis you see now with the Xbox One and the PS4. But anyway, I'm going completely off topic here. The gaming journalism, quote, was running amok with this, and it just goes to show that anytime you read an article, whether it be about video games, about politics, world news, it's never going to be 100% true. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably sitting here going, well, of course. But the fact of the matter is that so many people flipped out about this, even threatening to cancel their PS4 pre-order because it wouldn't run at 1080p 60 frames. So it not only is it bad that the, quote, gaming journalism was able to have this situation happen based off of a rumor of one man with no evidence, I might add. Then you want to you judge a video game based on its frame rate? Does that even really matter? I mean, as long as it runs at a solid 30 frames, I can understand a little drop into maybe like 26, 27, because that's what the PS3 right now does. I can understand that happening, but is that the kind of world that we're living in now, where we judge video games based on their frame rate and whether or not they're in HD, full HD? If that's the case, then I don't really want to game on this planet anymore. I think that's completely dumb, and that's something that's... I think that started with the, quote, PC Master Race, which PC elitists, I don't really... I could give two shits about PC elitists. Anyway, moving on, I don't want to get too far into that before I piss a lot of people off. There's a release date for the PS4 in Japan, though. And this is one that... at first I thought Europe was getting the shaft. Because we, in the United States, get it the 15th. Europe gets it the 29th. I thought, oh, shit. 2 weeks is a hell of a distance, especially with the Xbox One launching worldwide on the 22nd. So that means 1 week over in Europe, you have Xbox One. Next week, you have PS4. Here we have a 2 week gap. Anyway, the Japanese release date for the PS4 is February 22nd of next year. I figured of all places that the console would come out, and it would come out first, it would be in Japan. I guess I was fucking wrong. Again, sorry, I probably don't have that much of a Japanese audience, but you guys are really getting the shaft, especially since that's your home console right there. That's... Besides Nintendo stuff, that stuff's your pride and joy. And you guys have to wait till the 22nd to get it? That's not cool. Not cool at all. So, I don't really have any other stuff to go through news-wise other than what I've already covered today. I'm really bad at closing these vlogs. I haven't been up for too long. That's probably another factor. I've probably sound really monotonous in this. But I'm going to continue uploading Star Wars Rebel Strike, and then I'll be taking a trip starting the 20th. So it's going to be... I don't know what I'm going to upload during the time that I'm gone. Might even be some arcade footage. We're supposed to be going to a pretty big arcade, playing some House of the Dead and things like that. So, field trip. Might have a special PWNcast recorded with an old friend of mine who's getting into the gaming industry. So, I'm not sure if he's down to record for something like that. But, we'll see. If I don't have anything like that I'm able to record, then I'll just put up another LP for you guys. PlayStation Plus recently put out the Resident Evil Chronicles HD Collection. I could easily do that, because Umbrella Chronicles is an okay game, but Darkside's pretty bad. And I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, so... I mean, it's not as bad as 5 or 6, but it's pretty bad. So, until next time, Phantasm Mask here, signing out.